Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Heartland Championship Wrestling Saturday afternoon broadcast here on the Epic Sports Broadcasting Network. My name is Dave Little, and we are coming to you live from the Dave Cave with action from Pro Wrestling Mid-America. We are here in the beautiful city of Nashville, Tennessee at the Fairgrounds Coliseum with some exciting matches for you in store tonight, including a great main event, a rematch for the PWMA Heavyweight Championship as the new champion, Barry Windham, seconded by Jimmy Hart, takes on the former champion, Nick Bockwinkel. And we say hello first through the turnstile today is Neil Lau. Neil, good to see you, my friend. All right, as we get things started, I will start with a warning. I have been fighting a cold all week and coughing most of the week, and I'm feeling as good today as I have felt since last Monday. And hopefully we'll be able to get through this broadcast without my voice going out on me or having a coughing fit, but I warn you up front that that is what we are up against. But yeah, we are good to go for this afternoon's broadcast. As is my usual tradition, before I started the broadcast, I usually broadcast while my wife is working. Her office is upstairs from the Dave Cave, and she always asks that I close the door to her office so that I don't disturb her work. But we all know the real truth. The real truth is that she just doesn't want to overhear any spoilers, because she's going to get online later tonight after I go to bed, and she's going to watch this whole show from start to finish. Am I right? Anyhow, that is our pre-match or pre-show ritual. So we got that out of the way. Neil is here and had the chance to chat with Neil a little bit over Messenger earlier today, and looking forward, as always, to hearing from Neil about the happenings in the Velvet Wrestling Federation, run by the man himself, Neil Lau. And of course, any visitors to the chat room, anybody who is here watching a broadcast, it is always welcome for you to chat with each other about today's matches, chat with each other about your own replay projects. Bring me up to date on your tabletop sports gaming adventures. I always love to hear from the community what is up with each and every one of you all. Here in the Dave Cave, I recently finished a project with Payoff Pitch Baseball, where I completed a tournament involving the 1964 Major League Baseball season. And the winners were the Chicago White Sox. The Chicago White Sox winning the World Series 1964 Payoff Pitch Baseball with a 4-1 series victory over my beloved Cincinnati Reds. So congratulations, Mike Hirschberger, the MVP of that series. Bill Skowron played a big part. Pete Ward for the White Sox. And, of course, the White Sox pitching, Joe Horland, Joel Buzzhart, and of course their irrepressible closer Hoyt Wilhelm picked up the ring in that victory. My newest project, which will begin later tonight, I have recently acquired Let's Play Tennis from Play.com, Play. Love Play.com. Love Keith Avalone and love everything that he provides. And later tonight we'll get started with some tennis. Don't know if that's going to make it to the channel or just something that I will do on my own on the tabletop. But yeah, that is the updates, the latest from the Dave Cave. Let's get started with tonight's action as our main event participants continue to prepare themselves for the big confrontation. We had a few matches that took place before we got started here, the so-called dark matches, the non-televised matches. The opening contest saw Tim Storm, the NWA former heavyweight champion, picking up a pinfall victory over Ted DiBiase by way of the Perfect Storm. Then we saw the New Age Outlaws, the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, After lots of jaw-jacking back and forth against the Love Brothers, it was the Outlaws who defeated the Love Brothers after Hartford Love got so frustrated that he miscalculated and slammed himself into his own turnbuckle, and Road Dogg rolled him up for the pin. The Macho Man Randy Savage came out next and picked up a pinfall victory over Bad News Alan Coge with a flying elbow drop. The Macho Man elbow making its appearance here in Nashville, Tennessee, much to the delight of the Nashville audience. And just before we came to air, a wild tag team match went down, as it was the Killer Bees taking on the team from Whatever We Want of Stan Hansen and Ole Anderson, with Jimmy Hart at ringside. And indeed, it was the presence of Jimmy Hart that made the difference in that match, as Hart provided the distraction, Jackie Fargo provided the outside interference, and it was Stan Hansen getting the pinfall victory over Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, as the team of Whatever We Want defeated the Killer Bees just before we came to air. And now I am ready for a drink, and we are ready to get started with tonight's opening contest. And my voice is already suffering, so we're going to have to keep this low-key here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the opening contest is scheduled for one fall with a 30-minute time limit. Disqualification rules are in effect. Introducing first from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He stands at 6 feet tall, weighs 225 pounds. This is Antonino Rocca. Antonino Rocca coming down to the ring for tonight's action. And his opponent, representing Justice for All. He stands at 5'11", weighs in at 255 pounds, out of Marieville, Quebec, Canada. This is wrestling's worst nightmare, Kevin Steen. So Kevin Steen and Antonino Rocca to square off in this opening match. That may seem like an unusual matchup, an unusual pairing of opponents, but this is part of the championship. This match has championship implications, as the winner of this match will move on to a number one contenders match and the possibility of a title shot for the PWMA Heavyweight Championship down the line. So we will get things started with the opening initiative roll, and it is Kevin Steen who takes the initiative and just comes out and starts in on Antonino Rocca with a series of hockey punches. Steen, a hard-hitting wrestler, and now here's Steen with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Rocca, and on a roll of 9, it is a big kick from Kevin Steen. Kicked him right in the gut. And now Steen is going to whip Rocca to the opposite turnbuckle, but this time it is Rocca who bounces off the turnbuckle and nails Kevin Steen with a skull-splitting running lariat, and Steen is down. Rocca now in control. Rocca is going to go for a leg lace with handstand. This is a choice C maneuver, submission type hold. He will need a roll of 7 or lower to complete this successfully. And on a roll of 10, Steen is able to power his way out of that attempted submission hold. And Steen is in control, and Steen is now going to just nail Rocca with a hard elbow smash that stuns Rocca. Steen follows that up with a big fisherman's buster onto the knee, and Rocca hits the mat hard and rolls out of the ring and down to the arena floor. What's going to happen out there? But on a roll of 2, it is Rocca who is going to prevail in the brawl on the arena floor. And it is Rocca on the arena floor who grabs Steen by the leg, pulls him out of the ring, and it is Rocca who drops Steen stomach first, backdrop across the steel security railing. So surprising turn of events there, as Rocca wins the brawl on the outside of the ring. He's going to go now for the Argentine backbreaker. That's a +2 finisher. The pin roll here is 3 or lower, and on a roll of 6, it is Steen who is able to escape that predicament. And the match will continue. As Rocca now comes at Steen with a series of drop kicks. That is an add one maneuver. Steen takes another point of fatigue as ROCCA just batters him with drop kicks, and Steen is now going to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And on a roll of 7, it is Steen who's going to win the brawl on the arena floor with an Irish whip into the ring steps. So Steen now, after that roughhousing on the arena floor, is back in control. And oh, that's nasty. Steen with a power bomb onto the ring apron. And as we all know, fans, the ring apron is the hardest part of the ring. As Steen, oh, another power bomb. Excuse me. This time it is a Fisherman Buster onto the knee by Kevin Steen as he continues these high impact moves and throws on ROCCA. Steen now is just going to bite ROCCA in the face. I don't know what's gotten into Steen here. He's a little unhappy after that confrontation on the arena floor. And he is just biting away at the face of ROCCA. The referee puts the count on him. And Steen breaks the hold. ROCCA slumps to the ground. And Steen with a somersault leg drop on top of ROCCA, showing great athletic ability for a big man. And Steen now with another big Fisherman Buster onto the knee. Steen is relentless in this assault on his opponent. And now a sharpshooter. Steen rolls him over into the sharpshooter. And ROCCA quickly gets over to the bottom rope and forces the hold to be broken. So Steen is doing some, is hitting some big moves here, but ROCCA is standing his ground and showing great resilience in coming back. And now Steen just bites him in the face yet again. This is just getting so inappropriate. And now he goes back and attempts the sharpshooter again. And again, ROCCA quickly able to crawl his way over to the bottom rope using his flexibility to great advantage. ROCCA gets to his feet and Steen's on him with more of those hockey punches. And this time it is ROCCA firing back. And it is ROCCA with a handstand, a head scissor, and a throw that takes Steen over and down. Very creative move there by the Argentinian. And now a monkey flip takes Steen back down over to the canvas. ROCCA with another monkey flip. Both men get to their feet. ROCCA's on him with a rolling single leg takedown, but Steen blocks that. And it is Steen who comes back with more of those hockey punches. Boy, this is a battle of brute force versus athletic elegance. And so far, Steen has had the better of it. And now another big Fisherman Buster onto the knee. But ROCCA just keeps coming back for more. As Steen hits him with another leg drop. ROCCA to his feet. Steen with another big Fisherman Buster. And now ROCCA finally is forced to roll out of the ring and down to the arena floor to take a break. Steen is going to wait it out and take a break of his own as ROCCA crawls back into the ring where Steen is waiting. And Steen is just going to pitch him right back out of the ring and down to the arena floor again. And now both men are duking it out on the arena floor. And it is ROCCA, again, who prevails in the brawl on the arena floor and just hurls Kevin Steen over the security railing and into the crowd. My goodness, ROCCA is a great athlete, but he also has a great temper. And now it is ROCCA in control, and he's going to go for that leg lace with the handstand once again. And once again, Steen powers his way out of that move. And it is Steen who comes back and bites the face. ROCCA's had about enough of that nonsense, and he is going to go with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Kevin Steen, and on a roll of 6, it is Steen who grabs ROCCA and sends ROCCA into the turnbuckle. ROCCA bounces off the turnbuckle, and Steen hits him with a big kick, and Steen again takes control. Steen now once again attempting that sharpshooter, but he just cannot get it locked in, as ROCCA escapes again and gets to his feet. And Steen nails him with a punch to the side of the head just as ROCCA was getting up. And now a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Antonino ROCCA. And oh, on a roll of 11, it is ROCCA bouncing off the turnbuckle where he gets nailed by an incredible neck-breaking clothesline from Kevin Steen. And Steen now with a big senton bomb, high-angle senton bomb, crashing across the body of Antonino ROCCA. ROCCA once again rolling out of the ring, and this time STEEN is on him. And STEEN is going to perform a diving clothesline off the ring apron that just stuns Antonino ROCCA on the arena floor. STEEN keeps coming with the rough stuff. And now STEEN is going to go for a 450 splash, a choice G maneuver. And this may not work in his favor because choice G is either a death jump roll or the power roll. So he will be able to execute the power roll on 8 or lower. And on a roll of 7, he does hit the 450 splash. And ROCCA is stunned. And STEEN hits him with another leg drop. This time ROCCA gets out of the way. And it is ROCCA who comes back at STEEN with open hand chops. You're not going to do much damage to a guy like Kevin STEEN, but now a face slap with the foot by ROCCA. How about that? The foot comes out of nowhere. Which one of y'all kicked me? Says Kevin STEEN. And now more open-handed chops from ROCCA as he attempts to fight his way back into this match. And now a victory roll. Over and down to the canvas goes Kevin STEEN. And ROCCA's going to go for the Argentine backbreaker once again. Submission roll here, 5 or lower. And on a roll of 5, he got him. How about that? A fine back and forth match between Kevin STEEN and Antonino ROCCA, won by ROCCA with the Argentine backbreaker. So congratulations to Antonino ROCCA as he moves one step closer to a title match here in Pro Wrestling Mid-America. All right, our first match is in the books, and that'll give us a chance to catch up with another drink of Diet Root Beer to ease the pipes, and a visit with the chat room to see what's going on in the community. So it looks like Neil Lau is going to have some matches. The Cord defending their belts versus the Renegades. And Salvador America here is in the chat room. Oh, just got to go. We'll catch the replay later. Have a good evening, everybody. Good evening to you too, sir, my friend. Hope all is well. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you do enjoy the replay later on tonight. Frank Wainscott also making his appearance here at ringside. Welcome, Frank. Hope you enjoy the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next contest is tag team action, also with some championship implications. As we shuffle up our out-of-the-ring action deck and get ready for match number 2 here in Nashville. The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules are in effect for this contest. And introducing first team number 1 out of Algiers, Algeria. At a total combined weight of 515 pounds, it is the Mad Dog and the Butcher, the VACHON brothers. So Mad Dog Vachon and his partner, the Butcher, Paul Vachon, coming to the ring for this match, but they are going to have their hands full tonight with their opponents. Introducing first from Reno, Nevada, he stands at 6'1". He weighs 261 pounds. This is Dick the Bruiser, and his tag team partner, the man who made Milwaukee famous, standing at 5'11", weighing 265 pounds. This is the Crusher. So Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher ready for action against the Vachon brothers. And like our previous match, the winner of this match will move on to a number 1 contenders match, and hopefully an opportunity to get a title shot at the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Tag Team Championship, which is currently held by the team of Tony Gurria and Larry Zbyszko. As we welcome Al, Red Sox fan, to the broadcast. Welcome, Al. Got your message earlier today. Hopefully the good people from Filsinger Games will take care of your order. I also got my order in, and hopefully we'll get the new card sets before too long. All right, so Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher to take on the VACHON brothers, and it will be the Crusher starting things off against the Mad Dog. Both former AWA World Heavyweight Champions, and it is the Crusher who takes the opening initiative role and comes out and tries to catch Mad Dog in a headlock. I don't know what that's going to accomplish in a match among these types of brawlers, and Mad Dog doesn't quite have a clue what's going on either, as he just shoves Crusher off of him and whips him to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes the Crusher, and on a roll of 8, it is a running shoulder tackle by the Mad Dog that takes Crusher down to the mat. And now it is Mad Dog biting the forehead, taking a page out of the book of Kevin Steen we saw earlier tonight. And taking a chunk out of the forehead of the Crusher. And now a double foot stomp by Mad Dog. Has the Crusher stunned. Here comes the Butcher. We're going to see some double team action here. And on a roll of 4, it is a devastating double team move by the VACHONs. A double pounce that costs the Crusher his first point of fatigue in this match. And brings the Butcher into the ring and in control here. And now it is a big splash by the Butcher that stuns the Crusher. The Butcher, the Crusher, the Mad Dog, and the Bruiser. Quite a collection of characters here, as Butcher hits Crusher with a big boot to the face and quickly goes for the cover. The pin roll is 3. But on a roll of 6, the Crusher is able to kick out. And sure enough, we need a quick break here in the Dave Cave. Be right back. And we're back as the Crusher kicks out of the pin attempts by the Butcher. But the Crusher is in trouble here. And it is the Butcher with another big splash that stuns the Crusher. Butcher tags back in the Mad Dog. Mad Dog takes control, and Mad Dog with a double foot stomp onto the Crusher. Crusher taking a pummeling here in the early stages of this one. As once again the Mad Dog is on him, and another bite to the forehead, and Crusher's had enough. Crusher just, we had another a dice getaway. A dice getaway here in Nashville. The dice are out of the ring, and the dice are brawling on the arena floor. What's going to happen now? As the Crusher comes back, and the Crusher with a big knee drop onto the Mad Dog. Both men finally getting to their feet and squaring off once again in the center of the ring. And it's Mad Dog with a leg dive takedown, just taking Crusher back down to the canvas. Mad Dog's on him with a running knee lift. Can Crusher make the tag? No, he cannot. And the Mad Dog is in control. And Mad Dog is going to pitch Crusher out of the ring and down to the arena floor, and this is where the party starts. And the roll is 11. Which means the opponent, the Mad Dog, comes out and takes a foreign object after the Crusher. He's coming after the Crusher with a steel chain. Will we see a disqualification here on a roll of 6? We will not. As Mad Dog just annihilates the Crusher with a steel chain, and the referee's going to let him fight. Mad Dog in control. Crusher back in the ring, and out of the ring we go again. As Crusher tried to get back into the ring, and Mad Dog just pulled him out back down to the arena floor. And now we're going to see shenanigans. The shenanigans chart is coming into play early in this one, to the surprise of absolutely no one. And it is going to be outside interference Outside interference here. It is going to be the Butcher getting involved in the roll on the in the brawl on the arena floor. We go to the wrestler interference chart, and on a roll of 9, it is the Butcher hitting Crusher with a cheap shot on the back of the head, and Crusher objecting to that, but getting distracted by that blow to the back of the head. And that's going to leave an opening for the Mad Dog to get in another cheap shot, and the Mad Dog is just going to choke him down. Chokehold applied by the Mad Dog. Now the Butcher's back in, and they're going to go for a double team move. And on a roll of 5, it is a bone-crunching double clothesline executed by the VACHON brothers, taking advantage of the distraction to keep the Crusher from tagging in his partner and keep doing damage. And now the Butcher is going for the Hangman move. This is a +1 submission hold. The submission will be on a roll of 5 or lower. And on a roll of 9, Crusher is able to survive. But Dick the Bruiser, ladies and gentlemen, has seen enough. That's 3 tokens of fatigue. And Dick the Bruiser is now coming into the ring with ill intentions. What's he going to do to the Butcher? On a roll of 9, it is now the Dick the Bruiser who pops the Butcher upside the head. And that gives Crusher time to recover, and that puts the Crusher on offense. And the Crusher is going to trap Dick the Bruiser in the full Nelson. The Crusher has Butcher VACHON trapped in the full Nelson. The submission roll here is 4 or lower, and on a roll of 3, he may get him. Can the Mad Dog intervene? Yes, he can. So VACHON just about to tap out to the to the Crusher Nelson. And now it is the Mad Dog's turn to interfere. And on the roll of 8, it is the Mad Dog being put out of the ring by the referee. So nothing comes out of that interference. But that does give the Butcher a moment to get some energy back as the Crusher is on him and is going to go with a whip to the ropes. Off the ropes comes Butcher VACHON. The Butcher, the Bruiser, I can't keep these guys straight. And it is a big kick by the Crusher that takes Butcher down to the canvas. And finally, Crusher able to get over and tag in his partner, Dick the Bruiser. So some wild action here in Nashville as these 4 men are just all over the place. And now it is Dick the Bruiser coming in and taking Butcher to the mat and working over his neck, applying a head twist to the Butcher. And now as Butcher slowly gets back to his feet, it's Dick the Bruiser with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Butcher VACHON, and on a roll of 9, Bruiser hits him with a big kick to the midsection that stuns the Butcher. Dick the Bruiser stays on him and just rakes his boot across the eyes of the Butcher. Butcher not liking that. And Butcher tries to go for a big kick. That's an agility move. That's not going to work. And Dick the Bruiser instead fires back with a forearm smash to stun the Butcher. Bruiser back in control, and now a big knee smash from Dick the Bruiser has the Butcher again subdued. And now Dick is going to tag in his partner, the Crusher. And we're going to see a double team by the Bruiser and the Crusher. And on a roll of 5, that is a bone-crunching double clothesline that takes the Butcher down to the canvas. Crusher now back in control. And Crusher going back to that Crusher Nelson. He almost got the submission with that earlier. The submission roll now is 5 or lower. And on a roll of 9, Butcher is able to power his way out. And out of the ring, and Butcher kicks out, but the Crusher's still in control. And Crusher now is going to pitch the Butcher out of the ring where the hostilities will be resumed. And this time it is the Crusher going to the foreign object. The Crusher has found some athletic tape at ringside. And he has got it wrapped around the neck of the Butcher. Will we see a disqualification here? We will not, as the Crusher takes control. And now we'll see Dick the Bruiser come in for a double team, and on a roll of 6, it's another bone-crunching double clothesline that stuns the Butcher and puts Dick the Bruiser firmly in control. And now it is Dick the Bruiser going up for his top rope knee drop. That's a +2 finisher, which means the pin roll now is 8. And that's a mandatory pin save. And on a roll of 9, Mad Dog is unable to make the pin save. And on a roll of 9, Butcher barely kicks out. So Butcher barely survives the top rope knee drop. And now it is Dick the Bruiser in control, and the Vachons have used all of their pin saves. As he goes to the stomach claw. Stomach claw applied by Dick the Bruiser. That's also a possible submission here on a roll of 8 or lower. And on a roll of 7, he got him. So after a nasty brawl, it is the Butcher forced to submit to the stomach claw applied by Dick the Bruiser. All right, guys, I apologize. I am really struggling with my voice. I had, mixed feelings about doing this show today, but I couldn't resist the opportunity to get on YouTube and hang out with my pals here in the Dave Cave, as we have had some action here in the chat room that we'll catch up on. Our Red Sox fan here, and getting some good discussion going. Neil Lau with more discussion about his Velvet Wrestling Federation. Always good to hear from Neil. The Coras against the Renegades coming up in their big title match. Carl Zilla is here. Howdy, Carl, and thank you. Carl Zilla, once again, the creator of these lovely Legends of Wrestling foreign objects and out-of-the-ring action cards. The printed versions of these are all distributed, but if you send me an email message or a Facebook message, I'm happy to send along a PDF for anybody who is interested in these. Al Red Sox fan, I sent Al a copy of those this week. Interested to see if you're able to get those onto the tabletop. Frank Wainscott here, and asking about a Donnie Lalonde fight on the channel. I assume that's a boxer. Al, the Red Sox fan, being the king of boxing on YouTube. Nobody does boxing better than Al Red Sox fan. I know very little about boxing, other than the fact that a college classmate of mine was a kid from Youngstown who went to school with Ray Boom Boom Mancini. So I did watch a few Ray Boom Boom Mancini fights along the way, as his college buddy, his high school buddy, was following along with his career. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as you have been checking out the action around the Heartland, there has been a faction here that has been terrorizing the Texas area and the Pro Wrestling Mid-America territory, known as Whatever We Want, under the leadership of Jimmy Hart and Jackie Fargo. And their number one stooge, the guy that does all their dirty work, is none other than Shane Douglas. And we saw Shane Douglas at our last pay-per-view just about beat the stuffings out of Kevin Steen in a Singapore cane match. And Shane Douglas is here tonight in grudge match action against the leader of a new faction, new to Pro Wrestling Mid-America, known as Justice for All. And that man is Nikita Koloff. Nikita Koloff surrounding himself with Kevin Steen, Bret the Hitman Hart. Jerry Lynn will be part of that faction as well. So some resistance has developed to the tyranny of whatever we want. We've also seen a branch of Justice for All coming together up north in Patriot Championship Wrestling, where Bryan Danielson has taken up the mantra of Justice for All. He's been joined by Ricky Steamboat and the Rock and Roll Express. And just out of curiosity, the inspiration for Justice for All was something that I'm kind of trying to model after the Bullet Club, where you've got this Bullet Club that seems to have guys affiliated with them in various territories and various places around the world. We saw the Bullet Club in Ring of Honor. We saw the Bullet Club in AEW. We saw an iteration of the Bullet Club known simply as the Club in WWE. And of course, the Bullet Club has been all over Japan. And that's kind of my inspiration for this Justice for All faction. And so that's what we're hoping to develop here with Nikita Koloff and Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon and the Russian Nightmare, joining forces as the leaders of the Justice for All faction in their respective territories of Pro Wrestling Mid-America and Patriot Championship Wrestling. The Bang Bang Gang, says Al, Red Sox fan. The Bullet Club, guns up. Frank Wainscott, were you a fan of Memphis wrestling? I caught the tail end of Memphis wrestling when I was early in my days of fandom. I remember Jerry the King Lawler, Superstar Bill Dundee, Dutch Mantel, Austin Idol. Their show was broadcast in Youngstown, Ohio, really late on Sunday nights, like 12:30 in the morning or something. And that was about all I could catch. But yeah, I do enjoy those old highlights from back in the day. But ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall to a finish with no time limit and no disqualification. Introducing first, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, standing at 6'1", weighing 243 pounds, accompanied to the ring by Jimmy Hart. This is Shane Douglas, the franchise. And his opponent stands at 6'3" and weighs 125 kilos. Out of Moscow, Russia, he is the Russian Nightmare, Nikita Koloff. So Nikita Koloff, leader of the faction Justice for All, to take on the Stooge from Whatever We Want, the irascible Shane Douglas. No disqualification match here in Nashville. So we got to get the Grudge dice going for this one. The Grudge dice are black and white because it is good versus evil in this one. And the opening initiative roll goes to the evil one, Shane Douglas. And Douglas comes out with a slap to the face. Wow. You're not going to get on Nikita's good side that way. And now Shane Douglas with a drop kick that stuns Nikita. Nikita back to his feet, refusing to go down. And Shane slaps him again. This is not starting well for Nikita Koloff, but Shane's going to get his dander up, and he's going to pay the price. Here's another big drop kick, and this time Nikita is staggered. And Shane takes over with an opportunity at a running knee lift. And oh, Nikita Koloff just shrugs off that running knee lift, and it is Nikita who is going to attempt to wrap his man into the Cobra Clutch. This is a choice D maneuver. Choice D. D is in Douglas, and he'll be able to complete this on a roll of 9 or lower. And on a roll of 3, sure enough, he has got Shane Douglas locked into the Cobra Clutch. And Shane immediately is going to get to the ropes and duck down and leave the ring. Out of the ring we go, as they duke it out at ringside. B6 is the best man wins roll, and it is Nikita, the wrestler on offense, who wins that and just rams Shane Douglas back first into the ring apron. Nikita follows that up with a flying shoulder tackle as we head back to the ring. Shane Douglas is taken down. He gets back to his feet. Nikita's on him with a running elbow to the chest. And Shane is stunned. Nikita stays on him now, whipped to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Shane Douglas, and on a roll of 9, it is a big kick from Nikita Koloff that stuns Shane Douglas. And Nikita with another running elbow to the chest. Douglas gets to his feet. And Nikita stays on him now with a series of big forearms. Big forearms by Nikita Koloff. Those massive forearms. And Shane Douglas is staggered. And here's Nikita with a running elbow to the chest. And Shane is stunned. Nikita continues to pummel his man in the corner. Jimmy Hart at ringside shouting encouragement. As Shane is on the receiving end of a pummeling right now. And here's a Russian backbreaker. Nikita gets him up and stretches that back painfully across his shoulders. And Shane Douglas dumps Shane Douglas to the mat. Nikita in control here. He's going to go for the Russian sickle. He's going to go for the pin right off the jump, and Shane Douglas able to kick out. But Nikita now in control after he turned Shane Douglas inside out. And now he hits the sickle again. The pin roll now is a 5 or lower. And on a roll of 6, Shane Douglas barely got his foot over the bottom rope. Jimmy Hart shouting his encouragement at ringside. As now we've got Jackie Fargo joining Jimmy Hart at ringside. And that's going to bring out Bret Hart in support of Nikita Koloff. And Nikita hits the Russian sickle again. 3 in a row he hit him with the Russian sickle. And now Jimmy Hart is going to get involved, and on a roll of 11, Jimmy Hart attempts to interfere, but the opponent stops him and does something embarrassing to him. Perhaps the opponent rips Hart's pants. Hart retreats to the locker room humiliated and is unable to be involved for the rest of the match. The opponent rolls his pin. The pin roll after the Russian sickle is a 6, and on a roll of 4, he got him. So just like that, Nikita Koloff with a big win, 3 Russian sickles in a row. That sounds like something out of A Christmas Carol. 3 Russian sickles. And a pinfall for Nikita Koloff. And an embarrassing moment for Jimmy Hart as he tried to get into the ring. Bret Hart pulled him off the ring apron and pulled his britches down around his ankles, and Jimmy Hart had to waddle out of there with Jackie Fargo following along, and that opened the door for Nikita Koloff to hit the Russian sickle on Shane Douglas and score the clean pinfall victory. So justice for all comes through here tonight in Nashville, as Nikita Koloff gets the pinfall victory over Shane Douglas. But I have a feeling that this feud has only just begun. All right, I'm going to take one more quick break here before the main event, and we'll catch up with the chat room in just a sec, and we will be ready to finish things up here from Nashville. All right, we are ready to bring things back to the Dave Cave here. Thank you again for your patience with me as I struggle with my respiratory infection and trying to get this broadcast on the air. Has there been a card that you thought would be a top of the card wrestler, but they could never get a push? That's happened to me, Frank, a handful of times, of course, over the years. Most notably, one of my favorite wrestlers ever was Bruiser Brody. And Bruiser Brody has had a card in the Filsinger universe since the very beginning of my time, and I can just never get Bruiser Brody going for any kind of a meaningful singles push. Much as I love the guy, just can't get any momentum for him. And finally, I now have him in a tag team that I'm hoping can make some noise as a heel tag team of Bruiser Brody and the heel Jimmy Snuka. Brody and Snuka were tag team partners in Japan, and hopefully they can find some success as a tag team. Because yeah, the first name that comes to mind in cards that I have found disappointing has been Bruiser Brody. The other question: do you have a number of wrestlers that a manager can manage in your Fed? I don't have a fixed number, but I tend to cap that off at about 4 or 5, simply because the way I schedule matches, I run my Fed like a legitimate sporting organization. I don't give title matches to people who get into a feud. I give title matches to people who, work their way up, kind of like the playoffs. And I've been asked to do some videos on how I administer my Fed, and I'll show that when I do the background videos. But yeah, my championship matches are very much like a World Series or a football playoffs, where you've got to work your way up through the rankings and you've got to win a number one contenders match to get a championship shot. And if I have too many wrestlers all being managed by the same manager, there's going to come a point where they have to face each other, and that just becomes very hard to book. So typically a big faction, I'll have a tag team, so that's a good way to get a couple of heels into a faction, along with 1 or 2 singles wrestlers and maybe a guy who is not active. The faction of Whatever We Want is a good use case for that. The Whatever We Want faction has Barry Windham and Jackie Fargo and Stan Hansen, and Stan Hansen is now teaming with Ole Anderson, so that I could get another heel involved, and then Shane Douglas is kind of their lackey, and Terry Funk part of that. Jackie Fargo wrestles very infrequently compared to the others. Of course, Wyndham now the reigning Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion, as we'll see him about to defend his crown. Hansen and Ole Anderson now as a tag team. Terry Funk is actually in line for a title shot somewhere down the line, but again, how do you schedule that? Funk is actually in line for an NWA World Heavyweight Championship match, so that will be a bit of a different animal. So yeah, four or 5 guys in a faction is about what I will be able to successfully manage. All right, as we say hello to Mark Ferguson. Welcome, Mark, to the channel. Another drink of Diet Mountain of Diet Root Beer, and hopefully my voice will last for the main event. The nose is a very small organ, but when you consider how small the nose is, it's amazing how much snot one little nose can produce. And this week has been a case in point to illustrate that little known physiologic phenomena. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 45-minute time limit. Disqualification rules are in effect. This match is for the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first the challenger. He is a 5-time former Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion, Standing at 6'1", weighing 245 pounds, out of Beverly Hills, California. This is Nick Bockwinkel. And his opponent is accompanied to the ring by Jimmy Hart, representing the faction Whatever We Want, aka 3W. He is your new reigning and defending Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. Standing at 6'7", weighing 273 pounds, out of Sweetwater, Texas. This is Barry Windham. So, Barry Windham and Nick Bockwinkel, heel versus heel, for the PWMA Heavyweight Championship. And again, just like I mentioned, I treat my championships like championships. And I put the two best guys against each other. And I don't think, a heel like Windham and a heel like Bockwinkel would ever be booked to face each other in a real-life championship situation. But, again, I treat my championships as championships. Nick Bockwinkel held the belt. Barry Windham worked his way up through the ranks and earned his title match and won his title match. And Nick Bockwinkel is now exercising his rematch clause. So there you have it. Championship dice will be in play for this match as Windham and Bockwinkel stare each other down. They had their most recent match at the Another Thing Coming pay-per-view a few weeks back, and it was conducted with mutual respect. Jimmy Hart provided a distraction but did not intervene physically, and Windham and Bockwinkel settled their match in the ring, and hopefully we'll see the same here tonight in Nashville. As Nick Bockwinkel attempts to regain his title and become a 6-time Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Champion. But the opening initiative role is won by Barry Windham. And it is Windham who comes out with an attempt at a one-arm body slam. This is a choice B maneuver, choice B. So he can either go turnbuckle A or standing drop kick 6 or less. He'll go for the 6 or less. But on a roll of 8, it is Bockwinkel who is able to avoid the one-arm body slam, and Bockwinkel who is going to attempt instead a drop kick. Also a choice chart maneuver. He'll need 6 or lower to hit that, and Windham avoids the drop kick. So these two have each other well scouted as they come back together in the center of the ring after both men failed to connect on their initial attempts at offense. And now it is Windham who is going with a whip to the ropes and a drop kick. And the drop kick stuns Nick Bockwinkel. Wyndham's on him, and Windham with a big suplex up, over, and down to the canvas hard. And I tell you, when you're 6'7", that certainly adds an extra dimension to the vertical suplex. As Bockwinkel slowly gets to his feet, and Windham is on him. And Windham comes at him with an elbow smash. Bockwinkel dodges the elbow smash, had that one scouted. And it's Bockwinkel with an attempt at a kick to the leg, and Windham avoids that, and we start back over again from the beginning. And Windham comes at him with an uppercut. That's a power move, and he is able to connect on that. Windham follows that up with a hip toss, and Bockwinkel quickly back to his feet. Windham on him with another elbow smash, and this time Bockwinkel fires back, and it is Bockwinkel who is able to take down Windham with a single leg takedown and lock him up, roll him over into a Boston Crab. How about that? Nick Bockwinkel, great move there. One of the cool things about Bockwinkel's card is the presence of a level 3 Boston Crab on level 1 offense that allows him to take control of the match. That's not a agility move or a power move. That's just a legit take control off of the lockup. And Windham is able to stagger his way over to the ropes. Bockwinkel wants to continue working on him with a drop toe hold, but Windham kicks his way out of that one. And they come back together again, and it is Windham with a kick, and Bockwinkel firing right back with a whip to the turnbuckle. Off the turnbuckle comes Barry Windham. And on a roll of 4, it is Bockwinkel who charges the turnbuckle and misses, and Bockwinkel who hits the turnbuckle and tumbles out of the ring and down to the arena floor. And out of the ring we go. And on a roll of 8, it is Windham who is just going to have a little powwow with Jimmy Hart on the ring apron and wait for Nick Bockwinkel to return to the ring, and Windham is ready for him. And as Bockwinkel tries to get back into the ring, Windham boots him in the chest, knocks him back down to the arena floor, and Bockwinkel pulls Windham out of the ring by the leg, and it is Bockwinkel who takes control on the arena floor and backdrops Windham onto the announcer's table. How about that counter move by Nick Bockwinkel? Bockwinkel baited him into that one. One of the smartest men in the sport. Bockwinkel now in control. As they come back into the ring, it is Bockwinkel with a pile driver that dumps Windham onto his head. Bockwinkel back in control. Got him wrapped up now in the abdominal stretch. Windham working his way over to the ropes, and now Windham is going to take his turn to leave the ring. And Bockwinkel is going to wait it out for Windham to come back in. Now Bockwinkel in control. Very intriguing matchup between these two. Very cerebral. As Bockwinkel now is going to go for a knee smash to the back of Windham coming back through the ropes. This is a choice H maneuver. He can either hit an agility roll of 7 or lower or a death jump against the A. He's going to go for the agility roll, and on a roll of 4, he nailed him with that knee smash to the back, and Windham goes down. Bockwinkel now in control, and Bockwinkel is going to pitch him out of the ring again, and down to the arena floor we go once again. And this time it is Windham who is going to take the 9 count out there and just wait it out, talk to Jimmy Hart. Bockwinkel is going to stay in the ring and wait for Windham to return. And as he comes back into the ring, oh my goodness, that's nasty. Bockwinkel chokes him on the ropes. Windham came back into the ring, onto the ring apron. Bockwinkel grabbed him by the back of the head and just snap-mirrored that top rope across his neck, sending Windham tumbling back out of the ring again. And Windham is now furious, and he is going to grab Bockwinkel and pull Bockwinkel out of the ring. And it is Windham who is going to drive Nick Bockwinkel back first into the ring apron. So we've had a couple of confrontations on the arena floor now as the intensity level picks up. And Windham is in control as Bockwinkel comes back into the ring. And no, Windham is not going to let him back into the ring. Windham's going to keep this fight out on the arena floor. And again, he is going to win the brawl with a drop kick over the security railing. Bockwinkel drop kicked out of the ring and over the security railing. And Bockwinkel now starting to show some signs of frustration as he comes back into the ring and under the bottom rope. And now Bockwinkel, playing a little rope-a-dope, is going to slide out of the ring and back down to the arena floor. And Windham just comes out and nails Bockwinkel on the arena floor and drops him throat first onto the security railing. Wow. Bockwinkel stunned by that. We may see a count out here on Snake Eyes. But on a roll of 8, Bockwinkel is able to get up and make it back into the ring. But that is going to cost him a point of fatigue, and Windham now is in control. And again, we go out of the ring. We're not seeing any shenanigans quite yet, but as we're out on the arena floor, this time it is Bockwinkel winning the brawl. And Bockwinkel slamming the head of Barry Windham into the ring apron. Wow, this match has deteriorated into a ringside brawl that I don't think anybody here expected. And as they come back into the ring, it is going to be Bockwinkel who is going to go for a big drop kick. A big drop kick attempted by Bockwinkel on a roll of 6 or lower. On a roll of 10, Windham dodges the drop kick, and it is Windham who comes back with an attempt at an inverted atomic drop. This is a choice F maneuver. Choice F. He'll need 7 or lower to hit that. And on a roll of 10, Bockwinkel sneaks out the back door of that one, and it is Bockwinkel who comes back instead with a hip toss that takes Windham over and down to the canvas. And Windham comes back now with a kick to the chest. Windham follows that up with a big elbow smash, but Bockwinkel dodges the elbow smash and goes back and nails Windham with a big drop kick. And Windham is down. Bockwinkel with a chance to do some damage here. He is going to go for that knee smash to the back once again on a roll of 7 or lower. And he hit it. And Barry Windham slow to get to his feet. Bockwinkel's on him. He's going to go for that drop kick again. He hits the drop kick. And he's going to go for the cover. The pin roll here is snake eyes. But on a roll of 8, it is Windham kicking out. Both men now with 1 fatigue token. As Bockwinkel is in control, he's going to go for that knee smash to the back again. He hits it again. And Windham is down. Bockwinkel with a chance to do some damage here. And Bockwinkel's going for the sleeper. The dreaded Bockwinkel sleeper. The submission roll here is 5 or lower. And on a roll of 7, Windham is able to fight his way out of the sleeper hold. That Bockwinkel sleeper hold is legendary. He's taken out any number of men with that hold. And he saw his opportunity there. And Windham was lucky to survive. Bockwinkel continues to work the back. And after another big knee smash to the back, he's going to go for the cover here. The pin roll 4 or lower after the knee smash to the back. And Windham now has taken 3 points of fatigue, and that means it's time for Jimmy Hart to get involved. And the Jimmy Hart roll is 5. Hart distracts the referee and the opponent, while Barry Windham grabs the megaphone and attacks the opponent. Roll disqualification 6. And on a roll of 6, he is disqualified. So Barry Windham takes a shot at Nick Bockwinkel with the megaphone. The referee caught him, and Windham is disqualified, but Windham will go home with his title intact. And the fans here in Nashville are not at all happy about that. That was a good wrestling match that turned into a brawl on the arena floor. Nick Bockwinkel got control and almost put Windham to sleep, and Windham responded by grabbing the megaphone and giving Bockwinkel a wallop to get himself disqualified. And as a result of the disqualification, Nick Bockwinkel is your winner. But Barry Windham will keep the Pro Wrestling Mid-America Heavyweight Championship belt. And there will be a rematch, and it will be a no disqualification bout in that rematch. And that's only going to work to the advantage of Barry Windham with his whatever we want faction. And we'll have to see what Nick Bockwinkel can do about that when the time comes. All right, that is going to wind things up. There was some more chatter in the chat room. Jeffrey Guderman, your Stratomatic Passion broadcast was great. Thank you, Jeffrey. I appreciate that. ID Jester is a good friend of mine, and we have spent a lot of time on each other's channels, and there's mutual respect there. But he is an unabashed Stratomatic skeptic or cynic, as it were. And I just wanted to engage with him and share my own Stratomatic experiences. I play a variety of baseball games, but Stratomatic will always have a special place in my heart. Thinking back, there was a line in the movie Pulp Fiction where John Travolta was talking to Uma Thurman in preparation for their date or during their date. And Uma Thurman says to John Travolta, "Every man is either a Beatles man or an Elvis man." And I think that's true of sports gamers. Every man is either a Strat man or an Appa man. And I'm a Strat man. I am loyal to Strat, and I do enjoy the company. I've had the opportunity to meet Hal Richmond before. Very cerebral, very thoughtful guy. Not the greatest at marketing, and when you talk to him and see him interviewed and see his personality, he's not an engaging guy. He's not a Keith Avalone or somebody that's going to charm the socks off of you, but he is just a very cerebral guy with a passion for sports games, and he produces them well. He produces them way better than he markets them, and that's an issue. So thank you for your commentary there. Neil Lau, in my feds, there is no such thing as a rematch clause, and I respect that. And I don't have rematches for my secondary titles. But if you win a secondary title after your title reign is finished, then you get a number one contenders match for the big belts. That's how I reward my secondary title holders. Smack that like button. Thank you, Al, for the support. As always, Mark Ferguson, welcome to the chat room. Brian Vanderwall, good to see you, man. Enjoyed hanging out with Brian this summer at Galacticon and at the Wrestling Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Working on other games while listening. Brian Vanderwall has produced I think it's a drag racing game that he has been working on marketing. So be good to get some publicity for that, Brian. If you have a website or a link to something that you would like to post there, I'll add Brian as a moderator so that you can post the link to your drag racing game if you care to do so. And Dwayne Martz, always fun to see Dwayne Martz here in the chat. I enjoy Dwayne's baseball broadcasts. Good to see you here, catching just the tail end of the show. Short track racing is what Brian Vanderwall has produced. Brian, not only a game developer, but Brian also a race car driver in his own right in his spare time. So I've had many enjoyable conversations about auto racing and other sport I know very little about, but Brian has that passion both as a participant and as a game designer. So if you want to put something out there about your short track racing game that you are producing, we would love to see it. All right, so thank you everybody for chiming in. I'm going to sign off now, but Brian, yeah, if you want to put that link in the comments for this video, folks will be able to access that if you are indeed marketing that to the general public. Thank you to everybody for coming out today. Dwayne Martz, Neil Lau, Brian Vanderwall, Mark Ferguson, Al Red Sox fan, Jeffrey Guterman, Frank Wayne Scott, Salvador America stopped by earlier today. Carl Zilla made his appearance in the chat room. The most creative man in the Heartland. The most creative man in the Filsinger Games universe is Carl Zilla. So again, thank you to everybody who tuned in today to Action in the Dave Cave. That's our stream, and I am out of here. www.vansgames.com. Great, we got that. Thank you, Brian. And thank you to everybody once again for tuning in.